What's happening, good people? Hopefully the volume is okay. I scheduled it. I was late. It is what it is. It is what it is. Okay, so it's Prime Day. Compared to the last Prime Day, there are actually some deals this time that are kind of noteworthy. I'm gonna cut to the chase. I think that the best deal is the Delta Pro 2. Hear me out. Because as much as I like that particular deal, I like it for a specific reason. The cheapest I've seen the Delta Pro 2 is $399, and for $399, that was a good look. Well, now it's $50 cheaper at $349. Did I fix my zoom? Hold on, let me fix my zoom. That ain't the zoom. Okay. Bring it in. Bring it in. Bring it in. Bring it in a little more. Bring it in. Bring it in. Bring it in. All right, that's enough. So it's $350 for an 1800-watt inverter to take in about 500 watts of solar, and it's XT60, Wi-Fi connectivity, all the things that EcoFlow is known for. Let's say it's an 1800-watt inverter. That's the thing, considering how long most of us have been dealing with solar power, to have a situation where you could spend this amount of money and be good to pretty much power anything in your house for $350 is pretty dope. Now, here's the interesting thing. The EcoFlow Delta 2, as good of a deal as it is at $350, that device, I went and watched Jason Noy's review video. He did that video 3 years ago. So while I like the idea of the $350 price point, I do think that, and it's selling, they said Amazon was like, it's selling fast. I do think that $330 would have been a better deal. It's like it's a 3-year-old device. Like, man, come on. I mean, that's a testament to how good that device was when it came out. Now we have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the fan noise. The fan noise when that thing first came out was disgusting. But I was actually talking with, I forget what he goes by on here. Does he just go by Nathan on here? I'm not sure. But anyway, I was talking to one of my viewers, and he was saying he grabbed a Delta 2 recently, and the fan is not as loud as it was before. And that fan was disgustingly loud. So, and I've heard that before. I was talking to a friend of mine who has been eyeing the Delta 2 for $430. And I've been telling people, like, man, for $399, that's the lowest I've seen it. And if I've seen something at a low price, you almost can't sell it to me for any higher than that. But even at $430, to spend that kind of money and be good, it's pretty dope. And then Jason Noy, he was running it through some tests, and I was telling him that he could run pretty much everything in his house, maybe outside of some tools, but in Jason Noy's video, he ran tools just fine. And he had like a high draw, some type of you and it worked out just fine for him. So with that being said, that's my number one pick, man. You really cannot go wrong with that 1,000 watt hours or whatever it is, 1024. And if your electricity goes out, knowing that your fridge will be covered, which is honestly the most important thing to any of us, to make sure that our fridge keeps going. And fridges typically use about 100 watts an hour cumulative. So you get a good like 8 hours out of it, because you have to deal with efficiency and things like that. You won't get the full 1,000 watts, but you take that, you add solar to it during the day, that pretty much puts you in a good space. And I'm a big fan of, your fridge doesn't need to be running all the time. They say your food can stay good for up to 4 hours. So I wouldn't run it the whole time if something were to go awry with the joint. So that's the number one pick. $350, man. How far we've come. That dip when it first came out was $999. And then I think the going rate for those when they went on sale back then was like about $800. It's like the power station prices have dropped so much that it's really there's very little excuse to not have something, even if you got to save $25, $50 or something like that. Al Smoking, what's happening? To get you something decent that can give you some peace of mind. All right, deal number two. Thing I didn't prepare myself for this. That's not true. I did prepare myself. I just didn't transition over very well. So let me transition here. We're going to do select all tabs, bookmark tabs, and then go do here, save. The next one, spoiler alert, is the Anker C1000. Now, here's the interesting thing about that one. They have a Gen 1 and a Gen 2, and the Gen 1 is on sale for $380. Now, I've been focused on the Delta 2 mainly because my friend, he's interested in EcoFlow, and he's partial to EcoFlow because he loves the app. Just another day in paradise. Hey, it is. He's partial to EcoFlow, so I haven't really been looking at other ones. But you have really three good contenders for this kind of like $400 price slot. The EcoFlow has been one that has always been up there, but then they had their EcoFlow Delta 3. We'll talk about that one in a second. But Anker, the 1000 is good, and then the Bluetti Elite V100 something or another is another $400 power station. Those are all kind of listed. They're on sale for the price that appeals most to me, which is $400. $399 for these kind of mid-tier devices is a good look. If you've ever been trying to get anything that could give you any certainty on power, this is the time to be able to spend that coin. All right, so did I get that together? Let me see. No, I did not. Where did it go? Hold on 1 second. Un momento, por favor. There it goes. Let's open all of those. Boom, dizzle. Put unnecessary stress on my internet. Did it open them backwards? That'd be funny. Oh no, this ain't the stuff. I have links. I do. I just don't know where I saved them. It's interesting to have that list from the last live. That's actually pretty cool. All right, let me try this one more time. Bookmark all tabs. Let's see here. And then I want to put them in the bookmarks toolbar. That's what I did wrong. Prime Day. Save. All right, let's open them up. Okay, just to have some visual accoutrements. Let me see what, just another day in paradise. What's good? I've been watching the prices, but have to lock my wallet away. I know that face. You changed your name of your channel, Just Another Day in Paradise? What your name used to be? I think is that Cap? All right, let's get back to what I'm doing here in the 3Gs and the Wi-Fis. Share. Okay, that's good too. Share screen. We're going to do entire screen, and we're going to let's call that screen 2. Is that screen 2? Add to stage. Boom dizzle. Hot kizzle for shizzle. Used to be good times. Really? That picture reminds me of another whatever. Not many people have that picture, so it's interesting. And sometimes YouTube displays like your, what do they call it? your old tag instead of your new tag. So it's a whole interesting thing. All right. This is the EcoFlow we've been talking about for the last 5 minutes, $350. Man, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. Oh, okay, cool. So this one is next. The EcoFlow Delta 3. They call it the Classic. So $409. To be honest, I didn't have a chance to watch any content related to this particular device. I don't know how it's better than the two. I imagine it is quieter. That was one thing that did jump out to me in my memory about these EcoFlow devices, these newer ones. So I imagine this one's quieter. It's pretty much, it's still going to have the same like trash 60 volt input limit. The Plus has the dual 60 volt input limit. So that's pretty cool. Remember, I won the power station a while back. And it used to be Good Times. That does not ring a bell. That's kind of tragic to me. The name used to be Good Times in Paradise, or I don't know. I can get hung up on stuff, and I don't want to do that. Did my Zoom undo here? What the heck? What the heck are you on? I did not mean to do that. All right, don't want to do that. Oh no, it's still good. Okay, cool. So this one, the only thing that I know about this one, I don't know much. If you guys know a lot about it, loop me in. It looks different. And I do believe that it is quieter. Let me see here. Faster UPS, 500 watts of solar. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot that differentiated this one, in my opinion. Maybe there's some things that matter to most people, but I don't remember much about this one. I do remember the Plus being something that was interesting, and I was intrigued by that. That's a faster UPS, so that's fine. 50, 60 extra bucks. So yeah, that's interesting. Now the Plus, I don't think the Plus is that great of a deal. The Plus is like 480. I think it's 483. I'm not really moved by that, but you look at that from the standpoint of it's an extra like $123 more than the Delta 2. It's going to be quieter. It's going to have the dual input. The biggest thing about the dual input for me, I think it does have expansion batteries. I'm not sure. I think the biggest thing for me is that dual XC60 input allows me to have solar coming in and then also have 12 volt charging coming in overnight, because that's when I want to prolong how my power station can run with that extra 100, 120 watts. So I don't know, look into it a little more, watch some videos, but it's on sale, $403. The Plus with the 2 ports is a little bit more. It's like almost $80 more. Now, I was going to the Anker. The Anker is on sale as well. You compare something like this Gen 2. The funny thing is they have them both at the same price. And you got to watch these cats, man. Prices have been changing during Prime Day. Like at first it was $399. I wish I could show you. Maybe I can. Let me see here. The price was I may have refreshed it, but the price was $399 to start on this device. And then it dropped to $379 sometime when I refreshed my browser. I was like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing. They're playing games here. Then I was going to buy these walkie-talkies from TID Radio. Them joints was $56 and it was showing up as 43. And then they went back to 56. Because at 43, I was going to pull a trigger. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother channel. Not really, but we're talking about power stations right now. So they've been playing these interesting games with these prices, $399, but now it's down to $380. The Anker, I like the Anker more than the EcoFlow Delta 2 because the Anker is newer. The Gen 1 was newer than the Delta 2. So now the Gen 2 is much newer and it's smaller. And I would go Anker. And that's what I was saying. I was talking to my friend who's like leaning towards EcoFlow because he likes the app. Um, but I've always been interested in that Anker C1000. This one is smaller. It's a lot more compact. It doesn't have the light bar on it. Anker kind of does this thing where they have these 5 ports on there. I'm not really showing myself. I could be showing myself right now since I'm just kind of talking in general. I do not like the way this camera looks, but anyway, they have this thing where they have like 4 or 5 1800-watt ports, and then like the one on the far right will be like the higher rated port. I did watch Minuteman Solar. He changed his name to Minuteman Solar. I watched his video on the Anker Gen 2, and the interesting thing that he was saying is, I think basically, don't quote me on this, but just kind of look into it for yourself, because I don't know the exact numbers. He was saying once it gets past, I believe, 2000 watts or 2400 watts, the voltage drops down to 110. So it's doing like a EcoFlow X boost kind of thing, but without kind of telling you. And I don't know if you could turn that off in the app. That's not the most concerning thing, but that far right plug is typically more higher rated. And I believe when it goes up to that higher rating, it drops the volts, which sucks. That one also has a 60-volt input limit, the Anker Gen C1000 Gen 2, but it's $380. It's a good bit smaller than the Gen 1. I'm very impressed with it. I am. I would like to try out Anker products. Am I going to reach out to anybody or try to? No, but they'll come around at some point, I suppose. Let's see. Oh man, I didn't even get into batteries or accessories. What I'll do is tomorrow I'll look into batteries and accessories and things like that, and then I may do another live stream. I was just looking at the power stations, but my Tim Go, they changed it to Tim Go. It used to be Tim Got for me, but they changed it to Tim Go, I suppose. I don't know why they changed it. Maybe they had some like copyright issues or something like that. But $750 is actually incredibly tempting. I think is it a server rack or is it just a big block joint? I don't know how I feel about this form factor of one over the other. I'm not sure. I think it's like with anything, it's like 6 one way, half a dozen another. It's like when somebody asks me, which do you prefer, EcoFlow or Blue Eddy? It's kind of like, I don't have a preference. So I don't know. I've never had a server rack battery. I feel like it would be kind of big and unwieldy, whereas like the typical battery size style is just heavy. It's heavy, and but you kind of know what you're getting into because you gotta like reach down and grab these freaking straps and move it and all of that jazz. But the server rack dip is like long, and then it has the handles, and it feels like it'd be weird. Now I don't plan on putting any of those batteries ever in the server rack. I can't imagine I would. Um, so the form factor of being in a server rack style is not that important to me. So it's interesting. $750 is actually pretty good. My Tim Got battery is working well, but I don't really expect much from batteries, but for them to work, I'll tell you one thing since we're on batteries, quick moment. My watt cycle battery is interesting because whenever it goes low in its discharge, the only way to wake it back up and to charge it is to actually disconnect a cable from it and then plug the cable back, which I think is probably some type of safety measure, but it's stupid to me. Um, but my Tim Got battery doesn't do that. It actually just died right before the live. I heard it beeping downstairs. So something my wife was doing kind of caused it to drain. Um, Oh, okay. I thought that said big back. uh, fair enough. Let me see if I gotta do something with this here. All right, get this cable out of the way. Man, I just cleaned my desk off like yesterday. Got it together. My area is not together, but my desk is clean. That's a start. It's a start. Okay, what you looking at? Oh, you think I'm lying? Be impressed. Marvel in my cleanliness. So I don't think I would do the Gen 1. Um, Minuteman Solar pointed out that the Gen 1, I believe, does have an expansion port on it, and the Gen 2 doesn't. It has a 12-volt socket on the side instead of on the front. And the Gen 2 doesn't have a light, which is like, I like lights on power stations. I do. But it doesn't have a light. It's okay. It's not a make or break thing for me, but it is. I'm impressed with that dip. I really am. Actually, let's do this here so you can see kind of the difference. Doesn't that look, that looks pretty sweet. It's a nice little compact power station. And you can see that this far right joint has the kind of 20 amp looking whatever on it. I believe that's the 12-volt socket over there. I did like that on this dip. He was talking about how if you press the screen shows you how much power input is coming in, and it shows you how much power is going out when you press and cycle through the screen. So it'll show you different things on the screen. You don't even need to use the app to get to that stuff. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know if Gen 1 does that, but you can see the Gen 1 is definitely taller. It has that little port like I was telling you on the side. 12 volt is on this side. Um, yeah, these Anker devices, I'm impressed. I'm not impressed. I'm intrigued. Then we have this one. Nothing crazy to report here. 379 would have been interesting, but it's the new Bluetti Elite 100 V2, 1,000 watt hours. I don't have many notes on this one. I watched Hobotech's review at some point, but I don't remember much. I'm pretty sure this one has a 60-volt input limit. It has some like higher speed USB-C ports, as does the Anker. I'm sorry, yeah, as does the Anker. The Delta 2 does not. It was the return of the barrel connectors on this one, so that was pretty cool. I like these little barrel connectors, and when they started going away from them, I was like, oh man, I missed that. It's actually pretty nice. I do like, actually, he pointed out something on somebody's product where the spacing on the ports was really bad. I'm actually looking at the spacing here, and that's actually pretty nice. Let's look at the anchors are really close. And when you have these things really close like that, and you have to use some type of wall wart, even though this isn't the best example, when you have to use something like this, it'll block a port. So you look at the Bluetti, this is the kind of stuff that starts to matter when you start using a power station. You look at the Bluetti, because they're stacked in fours. If you put one up on the top, then it could go far right, and then the other three are still free. So outlet arrangement is really important. You know, it's the stuff you discover when you try to use the joints. I know I need something for an emergency, but I'm still getting up to speed on how all of these work. They are just plug and play, correct? Yes, that is correct. That's a super easy, appealing thing about power stations pushing for change. And these power stations right here are great starter devices. Let me just send you the one that I like, that I actually reached out to my Pecron contact. He didn't kind of respond to that portion of my email, but I was trying to get that Pecron E500 because I think it's the best way to spend $200. And long story short, there's a lot of power stations that are on sale right now, but I think because these are at that $400 price point, $350, $380, it doesn't make sense to spend $329, $279, $280 on these devices that are like, they don't do what these are going to do. You need that 1800 watt inverter. If you're going to spend $50 less, $80 less, $70 less, and you end up with a 1200 watt inverter, then you played yourself. That's just how I feel about it. And realistically, if you don't have the money to go to the 400, then save up some more or something. Borrow some money from a family member. But keep in mind that is October. There will be Black Friday sales. And I was talking with my man about this, like man, because I think he should buy the Delta 2. But he was like, yeah, I got other stuff kind of going on. And he's like, and I'm like, I respect that. I think you should get it anyway, but let me be the voice of reason. And the things I was saying about the voice of reason is that realistically, the Delta 2 has been out for a while. Jason Noy's video was 3 years old. The Delta 2 may not be around for that much longer. It may exit out of this stage soon. I'm not sure. Also, keep in mind, these are reasons why you don't have to pull the trigger on there. Also, keep in mind that we got Black Friday coming up. Now, the last round of deals, which I believe was in July, the Prime Day in July, none of these devices were $400. They were like $430, $449. They weren't really appealing to me. That's why the last one was kind of like deals with a question mark. But now being at 400, 380, 370, 350, these are actually deals that people should consider seriously. Also, when you take into account that these things may go on sale again, you may not have to be pressed, but don't spend less and then not get as much because you don't have the coins. Just wait for the next round of sales. And that may be a year from now. But I was going to the Petcron pushing for change because the Petcron has typically been about around $200. And you could weigh this in your head. Check it out. $200. It's a 500 watt hour device, give or take 576, something like that. It's a 600 watt inverter and it's $199. It's USB-C bidirectional charging. It takes in solar, but through 5521. Excuse me. I used to be a big fan of 5521. Now I'm more so leaning towards XT60, but I still like 5521, especially for smaller units. I was actually disappointed with this power station. I'll show it to you if I can find it. This one. These people reached out to me, and I really like this little power station. I use power stations for lights all around the house. And my kids will charge their little iPhones, which they listen to the Bible Experience on. If you've never heard of the Bible Experience, it's actually pretty cool. It's an audible version of the Bible in NIV performed by Black figures of notoriety. So yeah, it's a good audio experience, and my kids listen to that very regularly. So they'll need to charge their little iPhone SEs, which is what I've given them to listen to the Bible on. And these devices like this are actually really cool for that because I can have a light. This one also charges from USB-C on both ports at 100 watts. And it has solar. I'm getting somewhere. I'm getting lost in the device itself. $76 is actually decent. It's very interesting, but it has no AC ports, and the solar charge port is actually something that's smaller than 5521. Hey, you recording me?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't like that 5521. And I would have been really excited to say yes to them on this power station. But because it was a non-5521 port, I had the Bouge RV Juice Go. I would have loved if that one was 5521, but it was 8mm. And 8mm is pretty standard. But still, I love 5521 on these devices. So the Petcron E6, EA Sports, it's in the game. Let's see. And it has a light on it. I like this little power station, and it has Wi-Fi connectivity to be able to manage the app. the device. It's a cool little device for $200 to get you started. Nothing else compares to it. Now, Pecron is not one of the top 3 power station makers, but Pecron is doing pretty good. They are more budget friendly joint. They're giving great value for the money. And I'm really impressed with this device. And I was trying to get one, but I still need to make the video for the Pecron F3000 that I have. So I don't know if my contact was like, we're not sending you no more power stations. Even though that particular one was kind of like a round robin situation. But I really like this one. I like it a lot. I will use it. I will welcome the Wi-Fi connectivity on it. 199, 500 and some. Everything else is less watt hour capacity than this one. The EcoFlow River 3 is like 256 or something like that. And it's more money. Um, the the new Blue one is not as much watt hour capacity. This is double for about the same price. It's pretty cool. But you all, like I was saying, you weigh that and you double that, you add an extra 150 to it plus tax, and now you got an 1800 watt inverter, 1000 watt hours of capacity, 500 watts of solar via XT60 Wi-Fi connectivity in the EcoFlow Delta 2. So I'm just like, the EcoFlow Delta 2, it wins. It wins today. It's the best deal, in my opinion. Followed by that Anker. That Anker is very interesting and compelling. But anyway, anywho, what else do I remember about this one? I like the compact size on the Elite version. It would be cool to have. They actually, this is another thing I wanted to kind of speak to. The Oops is actually a good indicator of that. Look at how much the Oops Mega 1 is. It is not on sale, which is fine. It's okay that this product is not on sale, but it's not on sale and it's very expensive. Remember, I'm not necessarily saying that I'm a reasonable person in feeling this way, but if it's not $399, then I got no capacity for you. $529 is like, it's too much, and it's a Oops. You know what I mean? It's not a first tier device. It's that second tier, giving you bang for your budget value, bang for your buck. And hopefully it works well. Y'all know I had issues with my Oops Mega 2. I've seen 1 or 2 comments where people having issues with the Oops Mega 1, but I don't know if it's the same thing that I've had an issue with. But it's not on sale. And the reason why I bring that up is, if you can't get these devices during these particular seasons on sale, then I would say wait for the next sale. Unless you absolutely need something. A slogan around here is, my pockets ain't your pockets. So y'all do what y'all want to do. But I just wanted to give you the perspective. That's all. And I was circling back to the Blue Eddy. Blue Eddy has this device right here. My mouse is stuck. But then they're still selling the AC180, which is fine. But the AC180 is more than this one. And I'm not saying they have to have all of their devices on sale. But the AC180 was a bit long in tooth, as they say. You filing your nails? Yeah. Nice. You should bring that to mommy. That's for her. The AC180 uses 8mm. 8mm. It was what we had for years, but XT60 is better. I wasn't always the biggest fan of XT60 because on my first EcoFlow River, had a super snug port, bringing everything full circle. When I wanted to extend the power on the River, unplugging that XT60 back and forth was annoying. So that's why I was like, I'm anti XT60 in this regard, because it's a super snug fit. Again, it's a 6 one way, half a dozen another. This is why I like the EcoFlow Delta 3 Plus, because I am a guy who will charge a power station via 12 volt overnight to extend its runtime. With that Delta 3 Plus, I'd be able to do that because it has 2 XT60 ports, just to kind of bring things together, right? Together? Yeah, together. We're bringing them together? Yeah. So the Oops is an example of, not today, Jason. Yeah. All right, that's enough.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
You're messing my chair up. You're being a goofball. Can you see yourself up here?
Yeah.
Okay. You are visible. All right. Excuse us. You can hang out, but you got to hang out on the more quieter side. The All Powers is an example. They actually just sent me this device. It's $399, but it's not as capable as the other devices. And I'm kind of shocked at All Powers with this pricing approach because this thing needs to be cheaper than that. I feel like this thing needs to be $330. But what are you supposed to do, man? You're in business, you're trying to make a profit, and you got companies like the big three, or big two, really. They're running these sales, and it's like it's hard to compete. But $399 is not good enough for All Powers. It's not. Now, this is interesting. I call it the Afiri. Now, the Afiri or the Afiri is interesting. It's a super budget friendly device, but it's a buyer beware moment. I've had at least two instances, one personally, where my USB port stopped working, and then a viewer of mine, he had issues with his USB-C ports. And I actually think Less Stuff, More Freedom, Living the Van Life had issues with his USB-C ports. So I would say buy this if you cool with getting the watt hour capacity value and the inverter value, but those USB-C ports may cause you some problems. I'm just saying. That's only 3 accounts, right? You can't necessarily judge something by 3 accounts, but it's something to be mindful of. But feels like a decent value. 500, almost $600 for 2,000 watt hours. I'm sure it has a 60-volt input limit, like all of the power stations do these days, which is stupid. Um, this is not necessarily a deal. I don't know enough about the AC200L. I actually know a lot about the AC200L, but I don't know much about it specifically compared to the AC200 Max and then the Elite version 2. I do know that the L has the higher voltage. It's probably going to be 145, 150 volts of input limit, which is like chef's kiss. But it's $699, right? And then you got the V2. And this is a problem I have with Blue Eddy in this particular season. And I'm not picking on Blue Eddy. These companies are doing this stuff all the time. $899 is pretty much the regular price. And earlier when I looked at it, whenever I was searching for power stations and trying to find deals this morning, the V2 Elite 200 did not come up. And I was like, why is that not coming up? Is it out of stock or something? And I don't know if they have the ability to kind of like not have it in the results because it's not technically on sale. But now it has this big deal. Hey guys, go play somewhere else. Now it has this big deal label on it, and it's not a big deal at all. $899 is pretty much the price of this device. And I think when it first came out, it may have been a little bit cheaper. Don't quote me on this, but I think the AC200L was actually a little more expensive, which is weird that a new device would come out and be cheaper and the AC200L would be more expensive. But the AC200L has the expandability and it has the ability to have that higher voltage of solar. This Elite V2 coming out with a 60-volt input limit is crazy to me. You know what I mean? And it's just like, look, we all in the solar, at least people who've been doing this for a little bit. Jason Noy is not a fan of the 60-volt input limit. Hobotech is not a fan of the 60-volt input limit. Minuteman Solar is not, or Minuteman Prep is not a fan of the 60-volt input limit. I'm sure Will Prowse is not a fan, but he doesn't really dabble in the power station space that much anymore. But 60 volts is just, it's such a weird voltage. You can only do so much with it. And if you have any serious amount of panels that you either have or plan to acquire, then once you get a 37 volt panel, that's it. That's all you could do. So a 37 volt, 300 watt panel, nothing. So it being able to take in 500 watts, 600 watts, or whatever they can take in, it's almost like, so what? How am I going to get there? And you could go parallel. That's fair. You could go parallel. But once you go parallel and you start upping those amps, you got a 7 amp panel, you're getting up to 15 amps realistically, and that's on with a load on it. But typically these panels are about 8 amps, 8.5, 8.7. You're kind of pushing it beyond what your cables can carry. But I think once you get around 15 amps, they say you're supposed to put a fuse on it. So it starts to get a little interesting for me, at least. I still put panels in parallel and I don't put fuses on them. I live a thug life. But having something be able to work in series is actually, with 2 panels in series, is much better, in my opinion. That's my take. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. Okay, we talked about the news mine for a little bit. This is intriguing, man. $80 for almost 270 watt hours. I wonder how. Oh no, it says 270 watt hours. I wonder how it performs. I wonder if it's worth it. I had some questions. I wanted to know if it could dual charge from solar and from the 2 USB-C ports. I think longevity is going to be the measure of this particular device. But it's a cool little device. I am intrigued by it, and I wish they would have sent it to me. They kind of fell off the face of the earth. And I think it's probably because I expressed disinterest. Maybe my views weren't quite enough for them, which has been weird. YouTube and views has been kind of strange lately. I didn't really get into the accessories much, but I did find one of my favorite cables. I love this little 20-foot 12-gauge cable. I have like 4 or 5 of them that I bought over the years. I'm tempted to just grab one off of GP because I could always use a cable to kind of stretch out and get some bonus solar. But this one is $16, man. I feel like you can't beat that, and that's why I buy them so much. Very few cables get close to that in price. You'll have a 15-foot 12 gauge from someone like HQSC, and it'll be $25 or something like that. And I'm just like, geez, man, I'm gonna keep buying these Renergies. That's for sure, though. Okay, we talked about the Pecron. There was another one, a cable I saw that was interesting. All right, so those are my deals that I saw in terms of power stations. I didn't really focus on much else. I mean, Jackery has stuff on sale, but it'll be like $379, and then it's like a 1600 watt inverter or a 1500 watt inverter. And like I said earlier, I don't think that that's worth considering when you got the Delta 2 sitting there with 1800 watts, with the ability to surge a little bit higher and to handle your tools and things like that per Jason Noise testing. So 350, man. I'll talk about if you got like a gift card or a credit or something like that to be able to cover the tax. It's like, man, that's a good look. Now, let's see here. Nathan. Boom. Delta 2 has been great. Yeah, I was telling my friend that you got one and that the fan is not as loud. So I appreciate you reaching out and keeping me posted and giving me that firsthand experience. Now, for me personally, not in the realm of solar, I'm thinking about buying a couple things. But again, it's not related to solar. I want to grab, I guess I'll try and show you. I'll do my best. Let's bring this back up. And let's do a new window. No, that's not what I want to do. Stop sticking my freaking mouse like this, man. All right, new private window. Let's see how this shakes out. Un momento, por favor. All right, so we're still good there. Oh man, it's multiple monitor. And it's sticking like this is annoying. So let's see, what's most interesting to me right now? See, man, they play too much. Oh, let me show y'all this. They're playing with my emotions, man. So TID Radio has these joints. I've been looking for some walkie-talkies, and oh wait, hands down. What's up, Black Plumber? I appreciate you watching. Hands down, the best deal is the Fiery 3840. Is it? It's like $1,000, right? But I'd much rather that Pecron F3000 is going to be about $1,000 as well. So I don't know if I would go a Fury. Guys, y'all don't have to be like super quiet, but let's keep it under wraps. I've been trying to find my windows are getting a little out of control here. Let me get back somewhere. StreamYard. I've been trying to find some walkie-talkies that had a good build quality. This picture is deceptive because of all this color on it. These jokers were $43, man, and then they raised them up to $54, and I'm just like, you dirty sons of blues players. Hopefully tomorrow they go back down because I could stomach $10 a radio. So I'm intrigued by that. I also have, let me get rid of this. Oh, I'm gonna need that actually. Okay, fair. You win. You win. I'm thinking about this as well, not that. I was looking at, basically I have this travel router that I got off of the marketplace for $10. Why buy accessory batteries if they cost the same as a power station? What do you mean when you say accessory batteries? You mean expandable batteries or just standalone batteries? Al Smoking Tea. So I'm using the DJI Pocket 3 right now, and I have this little microphone, this DJI Mini. I love these things. They were $60 when they first came out, and they work well. Sorry about all that jostling. They work well because I have an Action 4 and I have a Pocket 3, and they connect directly. So it's an ease of use kind of thing, and I'm big on ease of use. The easier it is for me to use something, the easier I can make videos. And they have been a tremendous help. There was $60. I have two of them in some capacity. Long story short, they're $33 now. 33 bones, which is bananas. I'm about to order two of them. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this. Am I sharing my screen? I'm going to grab this because for the extra $14 plus tax, I can get the two receivers or two transmitters, and also the ability to connect it to wherever I want. So not only can I use them separately, we're connecting them directly to the Pocket 3 or the Action 4. We're contemplating getting my wife an Action 4 because she wants her own camera, but we have some other kind of situations to deal with, and she's kind of weighing that, and I'm not going to bully her into spending the coin. But they connect directly and they don't need nothing fancy. It's not Bluetooth. It's something that's a little bit better. It's like Osmo Direct Connect, and it gives you really good audio. That's the audio that I'm using now. It's the audio that I'm typically using in most of my newer videos. And so it can do that. And then if we needed to use it with a real camera or a different cell phone, that little $14 extra will allow us to do that via like a USB-C connection or just a wire connection or whatever. So I'm thinking about grabbing that. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do that. And then what else? Oh, let me show you this travel router thing that I'm going to grab. The travel router thing is actually, oh, it's all good. I didn't even notice. It's actually pretty cool because it allows me to do something with my internet that is pretty fancy. And it's normally $83. It's $83. It's on sale for $70. But there's a super cheap one of it that is like $30. And it allows you to take the internet from your phone via hotspot and then share it out again. Or when you go on a cruise or something like that, or if you're in a hotel, or if you're in Chick-fil-A, or you're in McDonald's or something like that, and they have free Wi-Fi, you can use this box. Let me kind of show you so we can put a picture with it. And then I'm gonna circle back to Al Smoking T's question. So it allows you to basically take those signals and then recreate your own. And the benefit of that is you can already have this stuff configured for your folks and your family, your computers, your devices to already connect to these SSIDs. So you connect this device to that internet once, it grabs it, rebroadcasts it as whatever you want to be named. And you have 4 different SSDs you can have, 2 5 gigahertz and then 2 2.4 gigahertz. 2 of them are guest and 2 of them are main, I believe. And it's actually a cool device. How it has worked out for me is when we went to an Airbnb or when we go anywhere like that, I, for one, share my internet with my devices. I don't like jumping on other people's internet. But, or when I take the kids down to their grandmother's house, I just connect it to hers, and then all of their devices can just connect fine. Even my wife's device could connect because all of the names that are in the router mimic some of the names that are here at our house. So let's say at our house we have a SSID called solar power, something stupid like that. In the router, you can make a SSID called solar power. And the benefit to that is when you have these cameras, they are on a specific network for my home that is a guest network because I don't want these Chinese devices being on the same network as I'm doing other stuff. So I put them on our guest network. In my travel router, I have it set up to where that guest network is present there. So whenever we travel as well, I can turn that on, and then these cameras will work just fine because they'll find the network that they're looking for wherever we go. Pretty cool device. This one that's $69 right now, $70, is overkill for a specific reason. But there's another one that is much cheaper and it's on sale. It's typically $36, and this is the one I'm showing you now. So if you wanted to get your feet wet with something like this, spend this $30. And they are cool devices. I actually wasn't interested in this super cheap one, but I got one off of the marketplace by just happenstance. The dude was selling one. He couldn't use it. I got it really inexpensively. I think he sold it to me for like $10. Like, yeah, I got it for $10. And I love that little thing so much so that I want to get another one. Not this one, but I want to go back to the one I had before, which is I had this one before and I returned it for something else. But that's a long story, and we could get into more of that if we want to. But let me answer Al Smoker T's question. So he asked, why buy accessory batteries? He hasn't answered. I had a question. Why buy accessory batteries if they cost the same as the power station? So here's the thing, right? I used to have this mindset as well, and I still kind of do. And I think I talked about this last stream. I believe what you're talking about is the expansion batteries. The expansion batteries, I think I was talking with Sleeper. I think the expansion batteries only have a benefit to me if I have something that is running and it's a process that can't stop. So think about if you were like 3D printing something and you were out of power or at a cabin or something like that, and you needed that job to keep running no matter what. You didn't want it to stop at all. An expansion battery is good for that. But if it's anything else, in my opinion, maybe you guys can think, I mean, of course, breathing apparatuses like CPAPs and those other like breathing machines and things like that. You want the battery to be connected to the device so that it runs longer continuously. That could be the difference between something going halfway through the night or going the full night until the sun comes back up. For me, everything else that you could kind of stop manually and then just plug into another power station, you should just have two power stations. I would not buy an EcoFlow 2 and an expandable battery just because by the time you get an expandable battery at 1,000 watt hours, you could just buy another EcoFlow Delta 2 and then have two of them. And then you could have them serve different zones. You could have two solar inputs coming into each of them. I mean, the options are just more vast with two power stations versus a power station and an expansion battery pack. Okay, nothing beats the price per watt hour of the Fiery. I own two of them and they average 92% efficiency, 93% efficiency. I don't see anything that's a better value. What's the watt hour capacity on them? Probably like, the watt hour money wise, it's probably like somewhere around 30 to 35 cents, maybe 40 cents a watt hour, which is pretty good. But you got to be worried about that warranty. And those are things that we weigh. We weigh the warranty versus, the possibility that a device could fail on us versus the deal that you're getting. That's what a lot of budget power stations are about. I just hope that, the Fiery lasts the test of time. I have one. I have like a P1200 or something like that, and it's working, but not my USB-C ports. What's up?
Can I give you a hug?
Of course. How you doing? What's wrong? You want to talk about it? Because I'm on a live stream. I mean, I can't talk about it, but is it something you want to say publicly for everybody who watches this can hear?
I don't want to do it right now.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, do something that cheers you up. You have control over that. I know one thing that will cheer you up.
What?
Getting beat up by daddy. You look smiling already.
I'm not smiling.
You feel better already. Give me some. Hi, Craig.
I wasn't smiling.
That answers the question. That's what's up. You did smile. 30, almost 4,000 watt hours, and the cost is $1,000. Yeah, I mean, that's a good value. That's certainly a good value. Almost 4,000 watt hours. You're approaching the amount of capacity you have in one of those 48 volt batteries, 5 kilowatt hours. Oh, that's interesting. I'm looking at this rank. I saw this option in let me see. Can I show it? I don't know if I can show it. Yeah, maybe I can. If I could just dip it down here. This is the live stream joint. Let me switch it. Touch it. I want to hold it in my hand. You see how Less Stuff More Freedom has a number 3? There's this thing on in YouTube called leaderboards. And I think it's fun. It's like gamification of our participation. And he has like a number 3. So that's interesting. Let me see. Did y'all see that? I dropped it down. I want to make sure y'all see. He has the crown and 3 on it, which is interesting. Just Another Day in Paradise is number 1. This ranks the participation in the chat. So yeah, y'all type things. This is what people do in live streams, that they try to kind of like, they're not trying to cheat the system, but they are trying to game the system. Is what they'll do is they'll ask, like, how's everybody doing today? Do me a favor. Everybody type where you're from down in the comments below. Tell me where you're from. And it creates engagement. And then because it seems engaging, then YouTube kind of maybe gives it a bit of a boost. So, you know what I mean? Living the van life. Less stuff, more freedom, right? That's what it's all about. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. The Fiery something. Let's pull it up. Stack that cheese. Mother, sister, cousin, stack that cheese. You couldn't think of nothing. Writer's block. Something. All right. Free power station. I don't know if I spelled that right, but so which one? We got the P210, $579, right? That's $580. 12, that's 1,000, 80, 81, 60, 16, 1160. You could get two of these for the price of one. That'd be interesting. And that's right. Yes, indeed. That's an interesting, another example, Al Smoking Tea, of this idea of two power stations versus one. And I've talked about that early on in my live streams and my videos, like this idea of, do you buy an Elite V2, V200, V2, Blue Eddy in their names, or do you buy two Elite V100 V2s, which is 1,000 watt-hour, 1,800 watt inverter, or a 2,000 watt-hour, like 2,000 or 2,200 watt inverter? It's an interesting kind of thing to think about. Two smaller power stations versus one bigger power station. Me personally, more than anything, two smaller power stations would appeal to me because I like solar zones versus one big power station. I want a zone in the back of the house and in the front of the house. One of them run my internet and one of them run my fridge, instead of, potentially having one source of power. And then if my power goes out, I could plug my fridge into the power station and then run an extension cord to my internet. You know what I mean? So I like the idea of separation. So right back to the idea of power station and an expansion pack. No, power station and power station. Big power station and two smaller power stations. Big power station, two smallers for me. I don't know. That's kind of how my brain thinks. There are situations where the bigger joint is better, I suppose. Getting through the night. What's the word? Solar autonomy. Battery autonomy, which is the idea that you have a certain amount of power that you could lean on for a few days. How much reserves, I guess, but I don't know. Okay. Yeah, that's me. I'm trying to find it. Where is it here? I guess this one. Okay, cool. We got the P210 for 586, and then we have the P210 for 579. A difference of color, maybe something else, but I imagine this is the one that he's talking about. So yeah, you almost got 4 kilowatt hours of battery for $1,000 or $1,100. That's pretty interesting. Let's poke around here. I'm pretty sure the watt hour, the voltage input is going to be good on here. You can't do something this big with like a 60 volt input limit. I don't know if Amazon is going to show. Oh, it takes an XT90, which is interesting. A lot of these Fireys take XT90 plugs, which is different. I'm trying to see. I don't think it's going to tell me here. Let's go to the site. I'll talk about the walkie-talkie in a second. I actually have a channel pushing for change called Exploring Comms, EXP, spelled the way it normally is. Me and a buddy of mine, we kind of like are intending to work together. I only have one video over there now, which is my journey from FRS to GMRS, which is a cool video. You should go check it out, Exploring Comms. And I'll talk about this kind of stuff on that channel, and we'll talk about this kind of stuff via live streams where we kind of chop it up about this idea. But I'll share, I'll answer your question in a little bit. Dang, really? Okay. This might be it. The P310, maybe? Yep. All right, let's find some specs here. The main thing I want to see is solar input. That's all that matters. There you go. 12 to 160 volts. I like it. Sexy. It's from 16 blocks. Yeah, man. That's not bad. Less stuff, more freedom. That's pretty good. If you trust the brand and you believe in that warranty, and if they'll honor that warranty in some capacity, you also got to take into account a product that's that heavy. Who's paying for shipping? I think when you get into a space where you're not spending a lot of money, so I think it's kind of worth the risk. But when you get into the space where you're doing something this big and hefty, you gotta weigh how are these people gonna react to you having an issue. But for $1,000, it's almost like, man, that's worth the risk. I feel like the Delta 3, what's it, the Delta Pro, whatever the name is, EcoFlow messes me up with the names. That one's like 1,700, I believe. Let's see. I think it was around here somewhere. Oh, that's not bad. 1,400. So 3,600 watt hours. So that dip has more watt hours. Here we go with these close ports that you just got to make work. That's interesting. So it's like an extra $300. What? Let's give a take. And you could go with an EcoFlow, or you could go with a Fiery. What do you guys think? What would you do? Would you go Delta, the name brand, or would you save the coins with the Fiery? I need to know. Type down in the in the comments. Like the video and type your answer down in the comments. Like the video. You like it. Can't you connect a Delta 2 to another Delta 2 using a 12-volt plug? Yes, you can charge one device with another device. Yes, you can do that. Do you think Christmas deals will be better or the same? In these type of power stations, the same, if not better. Like I said, the last time the Prime Days was popping, these power stations didn't hit $400. They were at $430, $449, and calling them a deal, because typically they sit at like $529, $5 something. You know me, I've owned 50 power stations, and I'm serious when you say that the P320 is the best 7-year warranty, impeccable customer service. Sleeper, what's happening? How's it feel to wake up this late and me be on a live stream? I'm assuming you're waking up. My bad. I'm assuming. I could be wrong. And they never charged me for any return item or replacement or any warranty item at all. Great customer service. As for the Evil Empire, I forgot you called Blue Eddie the Evil Empire. I haven't heard that in a long time, my friend. That's funny. Okay. Did I? Oh, this fair. Yeah. Okay. That brand of walkie-talkie, the TID radio. Okay. So I've been on this journey. To find USB-C chargeable walkie-talkies. We are a walkie-talkie family. And the walkie-talkies that I have in my car, one's not chargeable by USB-C and one is. And one is chargeable by, no, I take that back. One is not chargeable by USB at all. And then one is chargeable by micro USB. And it's annoying. So I've been trying to find a good USB-C radio. And I bought these joints called the Mid Casey's. They looked interesting and they were on sale for about $30. Normal price was $60. So I'm like, half off, I'll give it a shot. But when they got here, the design was like, it was terrible. They look like some stuff Macaulay Culkin would play with on Home Alone or something like that. I'll show you. These joints right here, when you look at them off the rip, they look decent, right? Don't they look decent? But when you get them, they feel like toys. And they don't look very good. I don't even think I got the orange. Did I get the orange? I'm not sure, but they felt clunky and so on and so forth. Now I also tried the Baofeng F22. Now I still have these. So it was a 4-pack, right? I'll tell you a story about these Baofengs as I go grab one. The Baofengs are interesting because they're about $10 a radio on Amazon, right? But then when I shot up, we went on a little trip as a family in that area. I had been looking around at the deals, and there was a guy who was selling 4 of them for about $40. And I was tempted to offer to do 20, right? Because I'm like, dude, they sell for $40 off it like brand new. And his were brand new, but brand new from a person and brand new from Amazon is 2 whole different things. They might as well be used at that point. Now I could be being unreasonable, but that's my line of logic. I can't return them. I'm running the risk messing around with you. They may not work. They may not work for long. I have no warranty. I have no receipt. I have no proof of purchase. Like, I'm just like, fam, they might as well be used. What good is, like, yeah, they haven't been used, but they might as well be. Okay, cool. So think about offering to do $20. And before I did that, I went and I checked the price again, and I actually saw that the black ones were on sale for like $21. So I grabbed them. This is the Baofeng F22 in real life. USB-C charging is right under there. Not that I got to show you, but I'm going to show you anyway. USB-C charging. There have been some reports that the battery drains when you just leave them charged, like almost like the radio is on and working even though it's off. It has a very similar interface to what I'm used to. This backlight is terrible. It's pretty much trash, but they were $20, right? Okay, cool. Boom. I also have, this is a long way to answer your question, but I like talking about radios. That's why we have the Exploring Comms channel. And I hope to get on there and be able to talk with my man, you know what I mean? We chop it up. Now, this is a relatively big walkie-talkie, but it's USB-C chargeable. I'm intrigued by it. I don't know if I'm going to keep these or not. I am going to do a video about them. I'm just not sure. Let me see what the battery situation is like. I think this takes a normal battery situation. Yeah, it takes a normal battery pack, which means you could probably put 3 AA batteries in here. You could kind of see how it has the 3 boom, boom, boom. I need the ease of USB-C. Now, my TID radio, I have some of those. I have the H3, which I love, and I have the H8. And in my GMRS to FRS video, in my FRS to GMRS video, I have like a live stream on this channel that you can watch that's much longer. And then on the Exploring Comms, I took and I kind of chopped that down into something that's a little more manageable for just being a video and not a live stream. So definitely check that out. And my TID radio, the build quality is good. It's like $30 a radio. I think I got like a 2-pack for like $59 or something like that. They're GMRS radios, which can work with FRS radios, which is a family radio service, like your cheap kind of walk. They're not cheap. They're not cheap. That's the crazy part about them. They're not cheap compared to GMRS radio. I feel like I got to go grab my TID radio. Give me a second, because I got to show you what it looks like, because you asked me why I decided to go with that brand. So let me go get a TID radio. Hopefully I have one down here. If I don't, I need to go upstairs to grab one, which I will do. And if the microphone is still working, then you'll still hear me. It's just, thank you, baby. Thank you. Okay, this will suffice. Has a battery clip on it. All right, I'm coming back now. The goal here in grabbing a TID radio is to show you the type of quality that it is compared to the Baofeng. Now, Baofeng makes decent radios. They're cheap radios, but they're decent. This is my TID radio. This thing is built nice, feels good, looks good, GMRS, all kinds of stuff. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to show you the radio, but in a small window. So this is my TID radio. This is the Baofeng. You can see the size difference. FRS, GMRS. I like the build quality on this one. So that's why I'm willing to try out the TID radio. And I want it because, one, they are slimmer. I thought I pulled up the TID radio. Solar has a preparedness aspect to it. So if the electricity goes out, if cell phones are down, I need to be able to communicate with my family in close proximity. We are very much a get out of the house together kind of family. So if something were to happen, I typically try to put walkie-talkies in their hands. Like, for example, my kids have an after-school program, and I give them a walkie-talkie, and I'll be hanging out in the parking lot, and they have parameters by which I'm still kind of training them, by which they message me or talk to me on the walkie-talkie. Because one thing I don't want to be is a distraction, but I'll let them know, like, hey, when your class is over, when your thing is over and you need me, you message me. My walkie-talkie's on, so on and so forth. So it's funny because while I'm here, this is my TID Radio H3, and I just got a Baofeng UV5R Mini. Look at how much smaller that thing is. I love this freaking thing. These are USB-C chargeable, right? But because they're GMRS, me using them without a license is not ideal. So I try to keep FRS radios around to simplify my transmission. Have I used them without a license? I don't know if the FCC is watching. So yeah, about that. That's why I want to try the TID radios. I do want to show them to you because they're actually pretty cool looking. I think I showed them a little bit. I may have, or maybe I was looking at them. TID radio M11s. Oh, look, $43 on the non-multicolored ones, but I kind of got my mindset on the multicolor ones. So let me show you. These are not the multicolored ones, but they're just little simple FRS radios. I like them because they're flat, because I typically want to give them to my kids to put in their pockets. They're not small by any stretch of the imagination. Let's see here. We could show the side profile of them. You can kind of tell here by looking at it that it's not a super thick radio. A little bit. Dang, man, you think they would show? Okay, cool. Well, nothing's showing up. You may have to watch a video.
Hey, y'all, you got Porter's Garage here.
Oh, geez, I don't need that. Mess around, get a copyright strike. Mess around, this dude. I watched this video. I'm just gonna play the video. There's no sound or anything. They just put music on this. So it is IP67 waterproof, which is another thing I like because of their kids. So you can see there how thin it is. And for a simple USB-C chargeable radio, I like this. And I get the feeling that these TID radios are going to be built quite nicely. Now, the FRS, okay, something's being weird here. This is what the Exploring Comms channel is about, which is talking about the importance of communication is not limited to walkie-talkies. It'll be about FRS. It'll be about GMRS. I think Meshtastic is going to make a appearance. There are other means by which we have the capacity to communicate. Starlink may pop up because that's all about maintaining communication in both normal times and not so normal times. So, um, thanks. Can see the difference. Oh, okay. Good to see you. Less stuff, more freedom. Um, what are you using the radios for? So we move and shake. And from a safety perspective, not that anything has happened, like if I got to go to the car or something like that, so let's say we're at a hotel or something like that, and my wife has to go down to the car, or she went to grab a bite to eat or something like that, it's a lot easier to have a walkie-talkie in hand and say, "Hey, babe, I'm here. You know, can you open the door?" Or, "Hey, babe, be on the lookout for me." Or when I'm coming back, like, "I'm here. Can you open the door?" Um, to go inside of a convenience store or something like that, and her be able to ask, like, "Hey, do the kids want this or that?" You know what I mean? It's like it's quick, instant communication. I've talked about this before, but I don't mind talking about it again. That's what's appealing to me, because to grab the phone and dial the number or get on Telegram and initiate a call and then me answer and stuff like that. If stuff is a little interesting or urgent, I prefer this. It's coming through, boom, speaker, you can hear clear, all that jazz. That's what's ideal for me. um I actually had a situation where my kids were not where they were supposed to be, and they would get newly acquainted with riding their bikes in the neighborhood. And we basically had to scuffle and run around to try and find where they were. There were some things that were miscommunication. There were some things that were not malicious defiance, but lack of focus defiance. And that wouldn't have been a problem if they had a walkie talkie around their neck. Where are you guys? Oh, we're over here at the, okay, you're in the wrong spot. Come home. Or we'll meet you there. Y'all are in the wrong spot. It's instant. And I like that. And we, like I said, we are typically in very close proximity to each other. My wife is in the mall. We are in the car hanging out. Or, they're on the beach when we travel, and I'm walking to the vehicle, like, "Hey, did you need the Bluetooth speaker? I bet I'm bringing it." You know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing is what I use it for. All right, let's see. Usually 200 on sale. Oh, wait. Unlimited, blah, 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 long range, POC. Who's that? Who's the company that makes them? And here's the thing about these POC chips, walkie-talkies or whatever. They rely on cellular communication, so don't be deceived when they say, "Hey, the wireless is down, or the carriers are down. These will still work." They won't work. That long range stuff that can talk from California to New York, it won't work. Now, I don't know if they have some confidence in some aspect of the cellular network still being up, but once the cellular network goes down, those dips will not work. And then you have to worry about if the person you're trying to contact in this other place will have them. There's actually a very good video. I'll see if I try to find it. I'm sure I have it. Actually, I'm almost certain I have it because I saved it to my GMRS playlist, where this guy is talking about how he uses walkie talkies and he uses like the rapid radios to be able to. Oh, wow. Hold on a second. Check this out. I just want to kind of show you the picture here. Check this out right here. Y'all see that little thumbnail? You can take this anywhere. I'm going to be watching this video right after I get done with y'all. That looks super cool. That's super small, man. All right, back to the lecture at hand. playlist. GMRS stuff. Oh, I don't want you to play. Knock it off. Okay, can I? Okay, let's RV. Let me see if I can get this link. I'm gonna drop it here. Oh, geez. All right, I'm gonna pause, and I want to try and refresh to see if it'll show me the thumbnail big. That would be helpful. No, it's not. It's auto playing. Okay, shut up, please. Shut up. Dude, knock it off, man. All right, that's not working for me. I couldn't get it to stop. Fair. All right, yeah. Okay, cool. I'm not gonna prolong it. If nobody has any other questions, we're gonna call this 90 minutes. And then tomorrow I'll see if I can find any solar panel, battery, accessory deals, and then maybe we'll do another short live stream to discuss those things. But yeah, I don't want to get the all black ones. I think the kids would like the colors. Let me see if I could show you what the color pack is. Here it goes. It's $54. Man, it's some bull crap. So these are ones that were like 43. Ah, man, I don't want the black ones. I don't. Calsun solar panels? What's up with them? They're on sale? Amazon type action? I guess we're talking about Prime Day deals, so why wouldn't they be? Calsun. $400 Okay, so it's two 200s for $294. Interesting. 100 watt for $63. Pretty cool. For 100 watts, I don't like the shape of those at first glance, but it's probably fine. Yeah, even outside of Prime Day, I saw, what's up, Kohack? Oh, wow. So Kohack says there's a promo code for the Delta 2 that takes off $17.45. That's pretty much tax right there, fam. If your tax is not 10%, if it is 10%, it's half the tax. That's pretty good. Thanks for sharing that. I'm gonna throw that in the notes, or not right now, but soon. Good to see you, Kohack. Kohack, did you ever do anything with that power station I sent you that wasn't working? Did you ever crack it open, or is it like a project that's sitting on the shelf? I need to find somebody who has made a video about what to do with these power stations when they break. And I talked about this on a previous live stream, but I'm curious about that. So I'm gonna wait to see if you answer. Okay, yes, sir. Great panels. Thanks for all the info. Good night. Thanks for hanging out. Pushing for change. Hopefully, I hope to see you around in another video. That's good at the promo code, man. Nice. I'm not saying I almost got a Starlink, but I'm saying I almost got a Starlink. This YouTuber, dang, I haven't talked about his channel in so long. What's the name of his channel? Setite. I don't know what the name of his channel is. Setite's Tech Adventures. We were watching this freely roaming video. He was talking about the Starlink situation where their new $5 standby plan, which gives you half a megabyte of data throughput, but it's unlimited. And I think the Starlink was on sale. The panel, not the mini, But the regular size panel, which is not that big to begin with, is $199. And I was intrigued by that because it was $199 and you could buy the first month of service and you would get the second month of service for free. So I was gonna do the $50 roaming plan, the 50 gig roaming plan for $50. I'm fine with $1 per gig. I think that that's fair pricing. I think that it should be cheaper now. We've been at $1 per gig for some time. And in some instances, you can't even, for a lot of years, you couldn't even get $1 per gig. $1 per gig was like, oh, nice, really? Now we're just settling into like $1 per gig when you're paying for data a la carte. So if I was able to get a Starlink and then get those 2 months of service for basically $25 a month, that would have been cool. And it was during the summer months, so we probably would have traveled with it. So that would have been cool as well. So I almost got a Starlink. I like the idea of I like the idea of having a Starlink in case of emergencies. I really do. How did you repurpose it? What is a good tool by brand to get for disconnecting MC4s? That's actually a really good question. I have actually right here, I have a short that was talking about the difference between these two. I believe this is a Bouge RV and this is a Renogy tool. The Bouge RV and the Renogy tool, you can even see now there's a little bit of a size difference. Like this stuff right here was, I don't know if you could see it, but they were like a lot further apart. And it's small, but it made a little bit of a difference where this couldn't work on most of my MC4 tools, and this did. The Bouge RV one works well on Bouge RV connectors, but it didn't work well on anything else. So it's pretty interesting. So I don't know if there's a good brand, but they're not very expensive. I would say if you really want to get into dealing with MC4 and stuff like that, just buy both. Because there does seem to be a difference between the Bouge RV and the Renogy. The Renogy fits everything else that the Bouge RV doesn't. Now, I don't know if either of them are any good. I just know that I saw inconsistencies with what these would connect to. Maybe there's tools out there that are better because MC4 connectors can be a pain. So that's my advice. Get a couple. If you about to dig in, because the worst thing is to get one and then it don't fit nothing you got going on, and then you got to order something else and wait. So that would be my advice. You know, working with MC4 connectors is it can be a breeze, but it's a exercise in frustration because they don't always get the job done. And it's not their fault. It's just like all MC4 connectors are not created equal. So it becomes an issue. So it's like one of those things where, like, man, it's not an exact science. You know, sometimes you pop the joint on there and you got to kind of try and come in here and squeeze it to help aid yourself. Sometimes it doesn't work well. Sometimes you got to use the other one and try and see if that'll help you. But nothing about it is easy. Nothing about it is easy. Listen, if anybody who's watching this live stream knows of an MC4 disconnect tool that works incredibly well, please let us all know, because this is what I got and this is what I've been making work. It gets to the point sometimes where I have to grab my knife and I have to come in there and kind of like, that did not open well. I have to kind of shave a little bit off of the MC4 connector tool to get it to come off. So whenever it's a thread in my videos, it's like, man, I'm out here messing around with these MC4 connectors with no tools. And this is what I mean by tools, because sometimes I just got to make it work. I wonder if a pair of needle nose pliers would help. But I don't know. It's annoying, man. It's annoying and it's incredibly frustrating. I had one that was so tight sometimes. The stem because you know the plastic male part of the MC4 connector is actually the female part of the connector inside. It's interesting. I had one that was in there so tight that the female plastic part took off the male plastic part of the connector. So the only thing you could see was the tin, the connector inside. So that cable, that connector is pretty much toast. And it's so interesting because I have two panels that are basically out of commission right now. 300-watt panels or 290s out of commission right now. It pains me because I need to change the connectors on them. I have a 100-foot cable out of commission kind of right now because I need to change the connectors on it. It sucks. Especially when they have the plastic cover connectors aside from the tightness. Yeah, it sucks. Get the 50 amp rated MC4 connector. Okay, cool. All right, guys, I'm out of here, man. I'm gonna look into some stuff and maybe we'll do this again tomorrow. Y'all be beautiful. The chat will stay active for a little bit. So if anybody wants to keep chopping it up, I'll be around. It'll last for like another 2 minutes or so. Come apart easy. Get the 50 amp rated MC4 connector. Oh, okay. Get that type of connector and use that type of connector. They come apart easy. That's a fair point. I just learned recently that MC4 connectors have ratings. That's interesting. I didn't know that. All right, y'all be beautiful.